Welcome to another episode of the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. This is the podcast where we celebrate the women leading the charge in rock and metal. And today we're diving into the world of an artist who's redefining what it means to be fearless and authentic in heavy music. She's signed to RockFest Records. She's shared stages with bands like POD and Fozzy. Her latest album, The Heart That Bloomed After Death, has been tearing up the charts, debuting with over 1 million streams in the very first week. It came out this summer. Happy to have Maggie from Magdalene Rose join me here on the Metal Queens podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. You have had such a fast rise, Maggie, touring with major acts, building a devoted fan base. What's this whirlwind journey been like for you so far?
It has been a lot of fun. I grew up in a different band with my sisters before this called GFM, and I think that helped me get used to the fast-paced life of the music industry. And so whenever we started to perform as a different band, when I came out as a solo artist, it was definitely very weird. I was not used to having boys on stage, and I was not used to having anyone I wasn't related to on stage, but it's been awesome just to see the response, see people, learn my music, see new fans who have never even heard of me ever before from social media or just, oh, there's a show going on tonight, I'm going to come.
Hmm.
It's been awesome just to figure out how to balance it all.
What made you decide to move away from your sisters and start your own band?
So I was actually the last one to make that decision. I really did not want to, but we all felt like God was calling us out of that, and it wasn't really what we were supposed to be doing anymore. But I was very reluctant to finally like take that leap of faith and step into what God was calling me into. My sisters were like, "Okay, this is not what we need to do anymore." I'm like, "Wait, no, please!" Like holding on to everything. I was like, "Okay, this is obviously what needs to happen." But I never ever wanted to be a solo artist ever. I did not want the spotlight on me. That scared me so bad. But yeah, it ended up working out this way, and it's been really cool just to learn how to have my own confidence and learn how to just meet new people in the industry. Like I get to travel. My husband's my drummer now. And some of our best friends play guitar for us. Like it's really cool just to like build your own family, and it's always awesome to have like your blood family to fall back to, but I think it's important also to just find out who else is out there, even though it's scary.
Yeah. Are you the baby in the family?
I'm the middle child.
The middle one. Okay. And how big, I'm guessing, and by the way, are they still in music, your sisters?
My older sister she is in a band called Morning Eve, and they actually just went on tour with a band called Sleep Theory.
Oh, yeah.
And then my little sister, she was the drummer. She does a lot more Twitch streaming now, so she does a lot of stuff where she doesn't have to travel as much.
So I'm guessing music was big in your house. Parents?
Yeah, my parents were just really big like rock fans. My dad grew up going to all the concerts. He drove him and his little brother to go see Motley Crue, to go see Petra, to go see whoever they could. And my mom was really big into just going out and doing stuff. And so when they got together, they went to see Poison, they went to see Rat, they went to see all these like legacy bands. And when we started to learn like instruments and stuff, my dad was like, "Wouldn't it be so cool if you guys like started your own band?" And so that kind of sparked our interest in music.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm. Your debut EP, The Prelude, really made people sit up and pay attention. Looking back, what did that project represent for you personally and musically?
I think it was just putting my name, putting a stamp out there for saying there are bigger things to come, but here's something to hold on to while we work and finish those things. And it was it was cool because I didn't think I would ever be able to do music on my own. I didn't know what that was even supposed to look like. And so, instead of waiting for 3 more years to get a full album done, my husband was like, why don't we just release a small EP, get something out there so you can see and you can tell yourself, hey, look, we're doing this. Like, this doesn't have to be something you give up on. Like, we're making some sort of noise. And I think I think it's important to have that for other listeners, but I think it was more important for me to be able to see it and be like, okay, cool. We're actually doing something. This is awesome.
Shark Spray and A Bad Residential both exploded, charting, streaming, and also making waves on Sirius XM Octane. When did it first hit you that this was really happening?
Um, I think we did a tour with Fozzy at the end of 2023, and that's when About Residential first started to be picked up by Octane and go onto the test drive. And I think that was like I woke up from my bunk and my husband and my father-in-law, they were like, Mac, you need to get up. Your song's playing on the Octane test drive right now. And I was like, what's going on?
Mm,
And I think that tour was probably the first time I was like, oh, we're actually like doing something. Like people like this for some reason. I think we're gonna do something. And I think just being able to hear it on the radio for a long time, and I grew up listening to Octane and had always wanted a song on there, listened to all the bands on there, and so to be able to actually like see it and like we screenshot it and like screen recorded the whole thing. So like we're never gonna forget this day ever. I think that was definitely like the biggest thing I saw where I was like, whoa, this is really cool.
yeah, that had to be a great feeling. You have shared stages with artists who cross both Christian and mainstream rock. How do you balance that dual identity in your music and message?
Yeah, I think it's sharing my faith has always been something that's really important to me. It's helped me a lot in my life. And I think rock music is really cool because you can kind of, play into both of those industries in a way. There's a lot of bands like Memphis Mayfire and Flyleaf and
Yeah.
like POD that inspired me a lot growing up. And I was like, whoa, they're just authentically themselves. Like they don't put on a show or an act for people. Like they tell people, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but I'm gonna play a rock show and I'm not gonna let anything stop me from doing that. And I was like, that's really awesome. And that's what we do on stage. I share my story, I share the things that God has delivered me from, but we also make it a goal to be like we want to be the best performing band every night, no matter what. And so I think that sometimes helps people. I grew up in a similar band, that band with my sisters. We had a similar thing, and we talked to a lot of people who were like, hey, I don't really believe what you believe in, but I respect you for sharing that. I've got friends who believe the same thing, but they're in bands and they'll like from the stage say that they don't believe in it. And like it's kind of weird to be two-faced like that. And so, that's something I've always wanted to make sure I am genuine about. I'm not gonna say one thing from stage and then live a completely different life. I just want to be authentically myself. And we want to offer people hope and we want to offer people help. And it's not something that like our music doesn't exclude people, which I think is cool.
How did you meet? I'm going to just lean back here. These guys here in the band. As
um
I'm
so
disappearing into the shot.
so my drummer is my husband, and we actually met on tour. He plays for another band called Seventh Day Slumber, and they brought GFM, my first band, on our very first tour. So we were 16 when we met. Him and his brothers were still on the road, and me and my sisters were on the road. And so we finally had people our age to hang out with. And so we just became instant best friends. And the shorter guy who plays guitar for us, his name is Weston, and he actually played for Seventh Day Slumber for a while.
Yeah.
And so whenever I first started like toying with the idea of being a solo artist, he was like, I want to play your guitar. Like I want to do something with you. And so the three of us actually wrote most of the songs on the album just by ourselves. And Zach is the tall guitar player, and he is the newest addition to our band. He's been with us for about a year and a half almost now. And we met him through Instagram. I put out a post because we were kind of in between members, and I was like, hey, we really need another member. Our bass player is getting married. He doesn't want to tour, and we need somebody else. And we had a few people try to just send in auditions and stuff, but his brother tagged him and he was like, hey, I think you should reach out to my brother, Zach. He's really awesome. And we're like, okay. And we went on his page. He had a lot of Periphery covers, and he was like shredding. And we're like, oh, I think this could be our guy.
Mm.
And we brought him out for a tour, and we're like, yeah, this is gonna be the guy who needs to play our music. And the rest is history. It's really cool because we're all the same age, and so we get along well. Zach has a wife who's my age, and so I have another girl to hang out with finally. And it was really cool.
My favorite shot, actually, this is a great shot here. This one here on stage. And then my favorite one is this one with the sharks. Maggie sent me these photos beforehand. I'm going to leave that one up here. I love sharks. That's a great shot.
Yeah, we played a show in Germany. We played a festival at the end of September, and we knew that the festival was sold out, and so we're like, okay, we have to do something big. And we found those giant inflatable sharks on Amazon, so we snuck them into our suitcases, and we did not bring any sort of air pump, so we had to blow them up ourselves, and it took probably like 10 minutes each to blow them up. But then we threw them out, and our last song that we played is Shark Spray, and so we threw
Yeah.
them out, and everybody, like, those sharks did not touch the ground one time, and it was so much fun just to see, like, instead of beach balls, people were like throwing around these giant sharks.
That's great. Your sound is powerful, but deeply emotional too. How do you approach writing songs that hit as hard lyrically as they do sonically?
So our writing style is kind of all over the place. There's some songs that we start the instrumentals with, and we're like, okay, well, we need to have this type of breakdown, or we want to do this type of riff, or we want to sound like we were on Warped Tour in 2006, and like we want to make a song that sounds like that. And then other times, I'll hear a melody and start writing lyrics, and I'll bring it to one of our guitar players, and it's like, hey, we need to write a song around this because I really want to write a song. Like when we wrote our song, Hey, At Least I'm Feeling Something, I wanted to write a song for my friend who was struggling with self-harm. And I brought the chorus to Weston. I was like, hey, do you have anything that would go with this? Because I want to sing it like this. I want to say this. Can we write around it? And so I think it's really, really cool to be able to kind of split those up. We definitely, if we're starting at one point, we try to finish that and then add the other element to it. So a lot of times we do end up writing the music first, and then me and my husband will sit down in the studio. We write all the lyrics and we write the melodies together. And I think kind of like the poetic part of it has been lost a little bit with modern music, and so we try to like put a little bit extra effort to make sure things sound like artistic, but also like it makes sense to people. You don't want to use words that people have to go and look up in the dictionary because they don't know what you're saying, but we still want it to sound pretty and like meaningful and say what we're trying to say without confusing people.
Your debut full-length album has such a strong title, The Heart That Bloomed After Death. What's the meaning behind that for you?
Yeah, so that whole album is just kind of about me learning who I was. And, I had my identity wrapped up in being in a band, being a sister, being a daughter, and being somebody for everybody else. And I never really took a moment to figure out who I was on my own. And, I struggled with a lot of confidence. I struggled with even making the smallest decisions because I didn't like, I would always try to figure out what anybody else wanted. And when we decided to put an end to that first band, I felt like my life was over. I didn't know what I was going to do. And, I had struggled with trusting people. I had become pretty jaded. I was struggling really bad with my mental health. And it really did feel like a part of me had died in that moment. And, if I didn't find out who Magdalene Rose, like as a person was, not just a performer, I don't know, like if I would have continued on. I was struggling with a lot of depression, and you know I don't know who I would have become if I hadn't sat down and been like, okay, well, this is important, I need to figure out who I am. And it's awesome because I'm in a way better place. God's healed my brain from a lot of things. I don't have to take medication anymore, and there's just so much joy in my life. There's so many beautiful things I've been able to experience. And that jaded part of my heart has softened up again, and I'm able to trust people again and have great relationships with people. And that's not even 3 years ago. Like, I wouldn't be able to have that same conversation with the old Maggie. And I wanted to share that with people because I do talk to a lot of people who struggle with their mental health, and they think that it'll never get better, or social media is a little bit toxic in that way, where it's just always pushing to people that this is how it's supposed to be, and that's as good as you'll get. And it's like, well, no, healing is possible. You can be happy. That doesn't mean everything is a-okay, and like there's still terrible things that happen in the world, but you can find joy and you can find hope. And I just wanted to be able to offer that to people, because if somebody like me could figure it out, who is so stubborn and so confused about so many things, like there's hope for anybody in the world at that point.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a great spot.
Yeah, and I have a great group of people around me too, which helps a ton. I think having a strong support group has made a world of difference for me. I have people who they're not just gonna like be a yes man to everything. They're gonna challenge me and they're gonna say, okay, well, why do you want to stay sad? Like, why do you want to stay stuck in this way? Like, let's figure it out. And it's important to be a better version of yourself. It's important to like heal and have forgiveness and move on with your life. And that's the only way you'll get any better. You don't want to get stuck holding on to those bitter feelings or anything. They just poison you instead of, like, you think it's hurting other people, but really you're just hurting yourself.
I love that you did an exclusive Twitch concert for your album release. It was really cool. Over 1,000 viewers. How was Twitch and the online community building changed the way you connect with fans?
That is something that we actually, COVID helped us figure out that we could do. And, a lot of people weren't able to go to concerts. And so we started doing acoustic things. We started playing a lot of video games online just to connect with people. And we hadn't done something like that since COVID. And, I have fans who were from Croatia. I had fans in Germany. I had fans who I found out lived in Australia. And I was like, oh, we need to do something like for the album. But I was like, Nashville's a hard place to do concerts. I don't know if any of my industry friends would want to even come to a concert. But also, like, there's people who would definitely not be able to fly out to a concert like this. So, what is the most accessible way that we can do something where everybody can celebrate with us? And, we had the idea of doing the concert, and I was like, okay, well, maybe we set up a camera and we just do it in our garage. And we were like, there's got to be a better way to do that. And so I reached out to the church that me and my husband go to, and they offered all of their streaming equipment. They let us use their big cameras, so we had different angles. We were able to plug into their soundboard, and it's just been really, it's awesome to be able to do that, because they had people from other countries, people who had never watched me ever before. They had never heard of me, and they were just scrolling on Twitch and saw a concert, so they clicked on it, and I thought that 2 people were gonna watch, like at max 14. And like to have over 1,000 views before the end of the night, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is not something I ever thought would happen. And just to see people celebrating the album with us, and we had stage props and we all had like special outfits, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, we've never done an album release thing, and I feel like they're so hard to do, but it was less pressure to do on the live stream, because I was like, oh, I don't have to worry, people aren't going to be here on purpose.
You know what you didn't have though, Maggie?
What?
Sharks.
I did not have sharks, unfortunately.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
had to bring up the sharks again. I mean, they're lurking behind me here. Come on. All right, we're going to move into our fun and fast round of questions here. What is the most ridiculous or funny thing that's happened to you on tour?
Oh no.
First thing that
Okay.
comes to mind.
The first thing that comes to my mind is we had a bass player in a different band. He brought an entire box of donuts and a giant thing of iced coffee and was trying to feed all of our members on stage while we were in the middle of playing a song. And I don't like coffee at all, so I was like running away from him on the stage and like took the donut and like pushed it in his face and was like, please stay away from me. It was a mess. And he has dreadlocks, so he was having to get icing out of his hair. I felt really bad after that, because I was like, I was just trying to get away from the coffee, and I didn't want donuts in my face.
If you could front any band for one night, past or present, who are you joining on stage?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think maybe Flyleaf. They were the
Mm.
band that got me into this type of music, and Lacey Sturm is the entire reason I started screaming. And so I think that would be like absolutely surreal to do something like that with them.
Yeah, she's great. What's your go-to hype song before a big show?
Mm, we there's a song that plays normally. Oh, so we did a tour last year, and we had It's a Natasha Bedingfield song. What is that song? It's not Pocket Full of Sunshine. It's the other
Is it
popular one.
Unwritten?
Yes, we had that one, and me and the entire band, we would sing it and then go on stage, and it was the most fun ever.
All right, you've got 10 minutes before hitting the stage. What are the three things you must have nearby?
I've got to have a water. I don't get nervous when my voice and my whole everything dries out, and so I normally have to chug some water before I go on stage. Um, I usually have my phone on me because we have like a tour group chat and everybody's normally like scrambling saying, "Hey, where's this?" Or then somebody starts telling a joke, and if I don't have it, then I miss out on the joke. Um and then hmm 10 minutes before, maybe my in-ears are important to have. I have left those at places and then I've had to run all the way back to either the tour van or the bus, depending on where we're touring. And it is not fun to have to run back and forth right before you go on stage.
And finally, what's one message you'd love to send to every fan listening and watching right now who's fighting their own battles?
I think the biggest thing is just to know that you're not alone. And
Mm.
I know sometimes when you're struggling with mental health or you're struggling with things that make people uncomfortable, it's easier just to not talk about it because you don't want to feel like a burden to others. But that, like going off by yourself and trying to figure out by yourself, is going to sometimes make the problem worse. And it's so important to try and talk to somebody about it. And if you don't have anybody to talk to about it, that's why I have social media. You can message me. My DMs are always open. I'm the one who runs the account. There's nobody else on there. So you don't have to worry about some weird management company seeing it or a bot replying. It's just me. And, find somebody that you can talk to. And, you don't have to be stuck in that forever. There is hope. And, I believe Jesus has healed me of a lot of things. And there's so much beautiful things in life, and you deserve to give yourself a fighting chance to find those things and to find your purpose, no matter how hard it feels right now. Every day is a fight to get better, and you just have to worry about getting through today. You don't have to worry
Mhm.
about the rest of your life. That's a big pressure and that's a big responsibility. Just remember today. Just focus on that. You're not alone.
Great advice. Well, 2025 has been a big year for you.
Mhm.
We're almost at the end of 2025. What is coming up for you in 2026 in terms of touring and more new music, maybe?
Yeah, so we are planning on 2026 being our biggest year yet. We are in the talks of doing some general market tours. We're doing another Christian tour. And we're hoping to be able to announce those tour dates either in December or early January. And I know we're trying to come back to Europe, which is very scary to try and plan by yourself, but we're gonna try. And for the December season, we normally take off, and we've got a lot of different like small ideas in a band Dropbox. So we're gonna go and see if we can make those some bigger ideas and hopefully have some new music for everybody in 2026. And we're trying to get that to where we can at least have a song for you guys pretty soon once the year starts.
Great. And by the way, we have a lot of European viewers here and subscribers on the Metal Queens podcast. Because we do feature a lot of European artists. So you just heard it. She's trying to get back there. So,
I'm trying.
all right. Official MagdaleneRose.com is the website. You can get updates on tour dates. Also follow them on social media. Tour dates, new music. They've got merch there too, and everything else. A lot of great content there on the website. Uh, Maggie, a voice with power, purpose, and passion. The new album, The Heart That Bloomed After Death, is out now on RockFest Records. Stream it everywhere and check out the tour dates again and catch her live next year as well. Maggie, thanks so much for joining me here on the Metal Queens podcast.
Thanks for having me. It has been so much fun.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you. I'm Steve Richards. Thanks for watching. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, write a review. I will talk to you again next time here on the Metal Queens podcast.